Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. I wanted to give you kind of an update of my plan. I think a lot of you have probably seen like my previous video that I did on my plan. A lot has changed in the meantime. I will probably try and link the old plan up here because I probably won't go into too much detail on everything that I've already covered in that video, but I'll glance over it anyway in this one. So what is my plan? And you're kind of looking at a high level overview here now. Now, I know you can't read anything. I know that's too far zoomed out, but that's okay. We'll be zooming in a second. For now, I just wanted to give you like a total overview. I have to kind of point out as well that this is still a work in process, and it will probably always be. I'm continuing to add more stuff, but I think it's easier to keep on adding and explaining like bits and pieces that I've added than in the end when everything is finished to explain it all in one go, because probably by then it will be so much information to take in that it will be quite difficult. So, okay, so for the people who are new, you can see a couple of boxes here on the screen. I'm just going to point out the kind of the outer edges of those boxes. So I'm going to start in the middle here in blue, dark blue. We have the XRP ledger, right? That's here. Then we have the box on the left, which is Nexo. Then we have the orange box in the bottom left here, which is kind of, I just call it property, but it's basically just buying houses or whatever and then letting it out. Then on the right side here, we have in pink Flare Networks, which on top of Flare Networks in kind of salmon color here, we have Flare Finance. Then below that, we have also in pink here, we have the Strongbird network, right? So the Canary network, or whatever you want to call it, like a test network or whatever. Now, I'm going to correct myself straight away. I know it's not completely a test network or a sandbox or whatever, because there is a limited supply of tokens, which will also give them value, right? But like it is still kind of a testing ground before projects go onto Flare Network. So that's here. Now, straight away when that came out, Flare Finance said, we're going to use it. So they decided to do exactly that, to create kind of a, I'm just going to call it a project on top of Songbird, which is called Experimental Finance, or XFi for short. And it will kind of be a limited version of what they will finally be offering on Flare Networks in the end. So this is kind of the overview that I have right now. As I said, a couple of things. I'll be adding more and more. It's all up for me. It's all about earning passive income and like stuff like nodes and that kind of stuff, which I also am currently using but want to expand on. I want to add into this, I guess, network of I don't know, cash flow or whatever you want to call it, which I will be doing at a later stage. Now I can tell you right now, if I want to go into everything here, it's going to be quite a lengthy video, so I'm just going to jump right in. Just know that this will be like nodes and that kind of stuff will be added to this as well. The way I'm going to kind of approach this, because it is a lot, is I'm just going to start in the center with XRP. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to move left into Nexo and then down into property, because that is one choice that you would have with your XRP. Then once this is done, because I can get through this pretty quick, then the other option is to the right when we go into Flare Networks, Flare Finance, Songbird, and Experimental Finance. And I'll cover that straight away afterwards. But I just want to start on the left side just because this part is easier to understand. I've also added in some numbers just to give you an idea. So let's do that. So first of all, I'm just going to zoom in all the way in here to the XRP ledger. And actually, I can remove this. People who've watched my previous video knew that I was working on 3 stages. So in stage 1, I want to do something. Stage 2, I want to do something. Stage 3, I want to do something. I might still end up with something like that. But for now, I've simplified it a little bit because it's already getting complex enough. So I have my XRP on the XRP ledger. Now, you've got a choice what you can do with it. Do you want to just hold it and do nothing? Now, to me, that's a bit of a waste of opportunity. So I'm not doing that. You can then, as I said, either send it to, say, to the right, which we'll cover in a second, right, with Flare, or you can send it to the left. Now, I know there's other options. I choose Nexo. Other people might choose Celsius or whatever is possible. I like Nexo. I don't get paid by Nexo to say that. I literally have never earned anything from Nexo, bar obviously the holding my coins there and earning what's called APY, or APR, I think it is, from my coins. But other than that, just know I'm not promoting them because in no way am I have they asked me to do so. Okay, so take your XRP, and I personally have it in Nexo. Now, as an example here, I've taken $1 million. Don't look at this and go like, oh, I don't have that, so this plan is useless, or oh, I've got way more, so this plan is useless. It doesn't matter because it's all about percentages, right? The only difference if you don't have, say, that million, as an example, maybe you have 500,000, you'll probably just make half, right? If you have 2 million, you'll probably make double. If you have 1/10 of this, you'll probably make 1/10 of what I'm showing you here, right? So don't worry about it. Now, one thing I want to point out here as well, these numbers that are in here right now are just as an example. What I'm going to do after this, once I probably should have mentioned this actually before, in my Patreon, I'm actually going to upload this document as a PDF and a PNG for everyone who's in my Patreon to use as they will. But I'll also be creating a Google Doc where you can change all these numbers, fill in what you have, and the calculations will all happen automatically there as well. So I just wanted to let you kind of know that. So do check out the Patreon. The link will obviously be below. Okay, that being said, so I'm going to run through this quite quick now. So okay, we have $1 million in Nexo. So what you do with it? The way I do it is I'm going to split 65% and put 65% in my Earn wallet and 35% in my Loan wallet, right? That will give me the following values in those wallets, right? So I'll have 650,000 in my Earn wallet and I'll have 350,000 in my Loan wallet. Now what I'll do in my Earn wallet, I'm not just going to hold XRP, right? So when the choice of when you want to do what I'm going to do now is up to you. Like you kind of want to time like the top of the market. Like obviously you don't have to, but it will just get you the best return. If you're not able to, don't worry. You can just move into this when you're comfortable doing so. So what I am going to do is I'm going to keep 10% in XRP. I've got the idea is I just never want to sell it all. There's no particular reason to do that. It's just that I personally want to keep at least 10% of my XRP. Now in this case, 10% of 650,000 would be 65,000. Okay, now I will then also have 16% of my holdings in of that 650,000 in Nexo tokens, which will be a total of 104,000. Now, why am I doing that? I'm doing that because of a couple of reasons. When you have at least 10% of your total holdings in Nexo tokens, you just get better rewards, and you also pay less interest on your loans, right? So in the end, it works out. So if I said, yeah, I need 10%, why is it 16? Because it's 16% of my Earn wallet, but you have to have 10% over the whole, right? So it's over your Loan wallet and your Earn wallet combined, right? So 16% gives me this. Okay, and then the rest, I am going to put into USDC, stablecoin. This is for two reasons. One is you get a higher return. You can see here like 10% APR, but also for stability reasons, right? So if the price of the like in a bear market and everything crashes or whatever, having stuff in a stable coin just means that it will fluctuate minder. Minder is Dutch for less. Sorry, will fluctuate less, and because of that, it's just safer, right? Now, once I have that done, I'm kind of set up in my Earn wallet the way I would like to be set up. I'm earning 6% APR on my XRP, right, which will pay me 3,900 a year. I'm earning 7% APR on my Nexo tokens, which will earn me 7,280 a year. And I'm earning 10% on my USDC holdings, which will earn me 48,100 a year. Now, these three combined, I just put it here in gray just so you have it, is just shy of 60,000 a year. Now, keep in mind that this is like you're earning this, it's not costing you anything, right? You're just holding it there, right? So I'm earning 60,000 a year for just putting this money there. Cool. So that's the Earn wallet side of things. Now let's move over to the Loan wallet side of things. So here in the Loan wallet, obviously we had that 35% of that 1 million, which is 350,000. I'm here also going to split it. I'm going to put half of it in XRP and half of it in USDC. So you might be wondering, why am I doing this? Well, for two reasons. Once again, I want the USDC involved here because of the same safety reasons that I said on the left here, right, with the value going up and down. And I have to have at least half of it when starting or when taking out a loan in crypto. It's just, otherwise it's not allowed. I think they mentioned money laundering and that kind of stuff. I don't know what the real reason is, but you just have to have at least 50% in crypto. Okay, so now I have 50% in crypto, 50% in USDC. What also is a nice extra with the USDC compared to, say, XRP in this case, is the loan to value. The loan to value of a stablecoin is 90%, while the loan to value of XRP is 30%. So what does that mean? That means that if I put up, in this case, 175,000, I'm allowed, like that's my collateral, right, that I put up for as backing. I'm allowed to borrow 90% of that amount, which in this case would be 157,500, right? Compared to, say, XRP in this case, would I put up the same amount, right? Also 175,000 of value in or as collateral. I'm only allowed to borrow 30%, which in this case would be 52,500, right? Now, this combined will give me 60% loan to value, which means that on the total amount of 350,000 that I put up as collateral, I'm allowed to borrow 210,000. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I've put it here again as a loan, because just because you're allowed to borrow it doesn't mean that you actually do, of course, right? So, but in this case, I'm going to use the full amount. So I'm actually going to borrow that 210,000. Okay. So now I need to. A couple of things happen here. So one is the loan that I've now taken out, I would like to eventually pay that back. And I would also, I have to pay interest over that loan. Now the interest, because I'm holding the Nexo tokens, is 6.9%. If you don't hold the Nexo tokens, it's higher. I think it's somewhere around 12%. But now because I do, this is what I'm paying. So the 6.9% interest on this loan of 210,000 is just shy of 14,500 a year. Okay, so now we get back to the Earn wallet and the interest that I'm earning here. So you can see orange lines and red lines. So the orange lines pay back the loan, and the red lines pay back the interest. Now, as you can see here, I've kind of like 6%, 12.3, and 81.1% is like the percentage of this amount here, right? So you can see that here, what those amounts would be per year. Then you can also see the rest, basically. What's left are these amounts here in orange, and I use that to pay off the loan. So you can see here, it's just shy of 45,000 a year. Now, with Nexo, there's no maximum duration of the loan. And you can kind of see already like how long it will take you to pay back this loan. Now, it's not completely true because everything works compounding. And once I have the calculator up and running, you'll be able to see, I've done it before, I've showed it in different videos as well. You can actually get rid of it a lot quicker than it looks here because of the compounding interest, right? Because as you pay back your loan, you'll also be able to move collateral from your loan wallet back into your Earn wallet, which will then start earning you more, which means you can pay off more, which means you can, like this is this vicious circle here, right? So you'll kind of attack that loan pretty aggressive. Okay, so that's Nexo, right? That's Nexo covered. So we're now going to move into property. So now that I have a loan of 210,000, what am I going to do with it? Well, for me, so I have to kind of explain one thing here. I am going to use the percentages and rules that are used in the Netherlands because that's where I live. Now, that does not mean that this is not the same in your country. I don't know. It might be. It might be completely different. However, what I have done in a different video, and I'll ask you here again, if you'd like me to include the percentages in your country in the calculator that I'm building, just let me know. And also let me know like what they are, right? Because it will just, if I have to go and search for everything for every country, it will never get released. So if you can point me to like proper documentation, that would be great. Okay, that being said, let's continue. Okay, so I've taken out that loan for 210,000. That 210,000 represents 20% of the total amount because in the Netherlands, the down payment when you want to buy to let is 20%. Now, keep in mind that different percentages will apply if you're a first-time buyer, or if you're just buying to live in yourself, or if you're buying to let, right? There'll be different rules in every country. In the Netherlands, for what I'm saying here, it's 20%. Okay, so I put my down payment is 20%, which is 210,000. That means the other 80% is the mortgage that I'm allowed to take out on that. So that is 840,000. So when we combine these two, that means that I have a total real estate capital of 1,050,000, which is pretty cool, because if you just go back up to Nexo, we started off with 1 million, right? So I've now turned that 1 million that I have here that I put in into more money that I can now use for to buy properties. But at the same time, the loan is automatically getting paid off here, right? Which just means the reason, why would you do this? Well, when this loan is kind of paid off, you can just do this whole thing again, right? Now, so we have just over 1 million here. So what do? I'm going to buy 3 different properties. Each property worth 350,000, as you can see. This is obviously going to be different in location and place and city and all this kind of stuff and all whatever in every country. In the Netherlands, when you have a rental property that's about 350,000, you should be able to get rental income worth just shy of 20,500 a year. Okay, so now I've got 3 rental properties that are delivering, say, 20,400 a year each. Now, that's not income, right? You can't just stick that in your pocket. Each property will have to be divided into 2 things: actual income that you are allowed to stick in your pocket. Obviously, this will be taxed as well, right? But just for now, that's your income, and charges. So, what are the charges? Well, on the loan that we've taken out, right up here, the mortgage, we have to pay interest. Interest obviously will depend on a lot of things as well, but what I looked at here in the Netherlands is just over 4%, which means that's $34,020 a year. All right, so that's the interest that needs to be paid. Okay, so as you can see here, that's part of the charges. So each property will have just shy of 11,000 that has to be paid in interest each year. Now, you can see here, follow the red line, goes back up and covers the interest. Okay, so great, interest is covered. Now, there are also additional costs, which I'm not going to dive into right now. This is just when you buy properties, transfer it over, all this kind of stuff. That works out to be somewhere around 1.5K per year per property. So that's there. They're in red. I put them in red because they're I'm just going to call them the bad costs, as in this money kind of just disappears because you're covering the interest and additional cost. Repayment, not as bad. That's why I made it orange, because you're actually attacking the actual loan. Anyway, here we go. So this is the repayment. That is obviously depends on your country what the minimum is. This is it for the Netherlands anyway to cover it. So the repayments here will then go back and attack the actual mortgage. Okay, great. So now we have 3 properties that are paying for themselves here at the moment, right? The interest and the mortgage. That also means then that we have the annual income is left over, which would be just over 23,000 a year. Now, I don't know yet, if you want to spend this, if you want to pump it into anything else. For now, I'm just going to leave it here. So basically what we've done is we've put 1 million into Nexo. Don't forget as well, by the way, that 1 million that we put in, I said we got that loan here for 1 million as well. Now, just say if anything were to happen for some weird reason with Nexo, you would only lose the collateral that you put up. All right? The property is obviously dependent on your mortgage, right? That has nothing got to do with Nexo anymore, because whatever you use that money for, that's completely separate. But we now have anyway that 1 million, so we still have 650,000 here in the Yearn wallet, and then we have just over 1 million in properties, and we have an annual income here of 23,000. So I thought that was pretty sweet. So that's kind of the left side of things. Okay. Right, moving your XRP over and doing this. Now, obviously, if the value of XRP goes up and down, that amount will change. You might have less or whatever XRP that amount will change here, that value. It will just mean that you will be able to borrow more or less. Maybe instead of 3 properties, you have 1. Maybe you'll have 10. I don't know. But like the grand picture like still works. Okay, so that's here. Okay, now we get into, I guess, the meat and potatoes and probably what you all came for. So very briefly, what I'll do here as well, I've explained like transferring your money from XRP Ledger over to Flare Networks in a different video, so I'm not going to go into that right now, not into all the details. I will link that video up here, however. There you go. So for the sake of time, XRP gets transferred over here to FXRP, and it is now on Flare Networks. So at the launch of Flare Networks, you'll have your Spark tokens, you'll have your FXRP. Okay. Now, before I dig into this, I'm just going to go down and start with the Songbird network and experimental XFi, because they will be released first. Okay. So we get our Songbird tokens. What do we do with them? Well, as you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different options. Just like on Flare Networks, Songbird Network will also have a time series oracle. I believe it's going to be called STSO, which stands for Songbird Time Series Oracle, instead of FTSO, which stands for Flare Time Series Oracle. So what we could do here is we could delegate our vote. And by delegating our vote, we could then earn more Songbird. Okay. Now that Songbird we can then use for multiple things as well. You could, I haven't actually drawn a line here, but you could put it in FlareX and swap it for Canary dollars. What I've done here is put it into Flare Farm. Okay, so Songbird. We can also put it into FlareX and swap it here for Canary dollars, as I kind of mentioned a minute ago, if it came from here, but we can do that from the start straight away, of course. We can also use that Songbird, follow this blue line here, put it into Flare loans as collateral, just like we did with Nexo, and then take out a loan, right, backed by our Songbird. So in that case, we kind of have our Songbird put in as collateral, and we've taken out a loan in Canary dollars. You can then obviously use those Canary dollars for whatever you want. Maybe you want to use it in Flare Farm. Maybe you want to do something else with it. I don't know. And then the last option I have here is your Songbird. You can put it into Flare Farm. Now, when it comes to farming, as well here on experimental finance and with up here with Flare Finance, when it comes to farming, there's multiple ways to do it, right? You've got single token farming pools and you've got dual token farming pools. Rewards will be different for both. Risk will be different for both, and so on. I'm not going to dive into the difference right now, because that would really prolong this video a lot, and I don't want to do that. I just want to give a general overview in this video. I will then create additional stuff based on all of your questions, right? But for now, just know that you can do this stuff. Now, I have got a couple of questions myself, which I haven't completely figured out yet. That will happen here on the experimental finance, as well as on up here with Flare Finance, and it's about the wrapped part. You'll see it here in gray. I actually haven't added it down here. I'll do so. I really would like someone from Flare Finance to come out and explain if this is possible. I've asked it on Twitter, but they have not replied. You have a choice. Do you want to use your Songbird for the time series oracle, or do you want to use your Songbird in, say, farming? There is, I believe, a third option, and it is to do both at the same time. However, in that case, you would have to wrap your Songbird. So this is something that I need to learn more about, but this is how I understand it at the moment. Because Flare Finance themselves are a time series oracle, actually, you know what? I'm going to go into this a little bit more up here. I believe it's going to be the same here, but I'd just rather cover it up here in Flare Finance, because then we can have the whole picture. Just to keep in mind here, I believe that if you were to wrap your Songbird, you could have it in Flare Farm, and then at the same time earn the Oracle rewards, as well as earn the benefits, like say from farming. Okay. Now there is a reward. I think it's 1 million put up at the moment for taking part in farming on experimental finance on top of Songbird, and that that reward will be paid out in Songbird DFLR. What you'll then be able to do when the platform goes live is you will be able to take this DFLR, right, and let's follow this line here, and you'll be able to exchange it for Flare DFLR. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this experimental kind of platform here. Once again, it's a sandbox, it's experimental, but it will have real value because of the limited amount of tokens, and the tokens are needed in order to use it. Obviously, supply, demand, you know how it works. Okay, so I'm just going to stop covering this and go on to the real thing now, because it is basically the same but better. Okay, so now we've moved up here. We're now on Flare Networks and Flare Finance. We have our Spark tokens. We have our DFLR. We have our FXRP. Right, there are the 3 tokens that we now have here. When it comes to your FXRP, you can obviously use it for farming. You can put it into Flare X to swap it for something else. Completely up to you. Once again, depending on if it's a single token farming pool or if it's a dual farming pool, a dual token farming pool, risks are different. And we also have to keep in mind stuff like impermanent loss. Now, all of that I will cover in additional videos if you'd like me to. But for now, just know that you could put it in here, in Flare Farm. You could then earn yield fin with it. With that yield fin, obviously, I've went through these loops before, right? In a previous video. With that yield fin, then you can put it, say, into Flare Loans, Flare Mutual, and so on. And these are all loops that will loop back, so that it will speed up the process. Now, one thing that I've added is that yield fin that you earn, together with the yield flare, right? So the YFLR and the YFin, are used or can be used for governance staking. Right? When you do that, you will earn. I believe it's YFin, YFLR, and all of the F assets. So then when you earn them here, what you can do is you can put them back in here in Flare Farm, right? So you kind of just have one big loop again here. Now, I know that you're probably like accessing this, like this is going to be another video as well. I want to keep it high level here today, but like how this all works, you will not access it through, say, Flare Mutual. What I just mean here is that you could then earn the yield fin that you earn in Flare Mutual. You could use it here for the governance. You could obviously use all of this as well if you wanted to, but I want to see if in the beginning specifically, I want to try everything and see what generates the best returns, and then I might fine tune it as I go. Okay, but just know that's possible. Okay, so that is the FXRP. We now also have Spark. So this is what I wanted to touch on earlier when it came to that wrapping, right? So your Spark tokens, you can put that in FlareX. You can swap it for stuff, right? You can also put them into Flare Farm. Once again, think about the single token, dual token farming pools. Like that's stuff for another video, but just know that you can do that. And now it gets interesting. It's these gray lines. And this is stuff what I kind of said I was confused about. Not confused, I need them to confirm it. So the guaranteed way that I know is you can take your Spark tokens and you can just delegate your vote in the FTSO. You will then earn FLR, and that FLR you can then put in, say, Flare Farm, for instance, right? Or in Flare X to swap it or whatever. But like you can do whatever you want with that, what you've earned. However, what I would like to do is both. I would like to take my Spark, put them in Flare Farm, earn yield, and at the same time, I'd like to earn the Oracle rewards from the FTSO. Now, a lot of people think that is possible, but it's not. You'd have to wrap it, right? So WFLR is a term that we haven't heard a lot in our community, but it's basically wrapped Spark, right? Wrapped FLR. Spark token, as I understand it, just like normal FLR, can't do much. It can obviously be transferred. It can be used for paying fees. And I think that's pretty much it. However, when you wrap it, you get to do all the cool stuff with it. So that cool stuff could be, for one, FTSO. Now, because Flare Finance has its own FTSO, right, time series Oracle, I believe that it will be possible to wrap your Spark, put it in Flare Farm, use Flare Farm's FTSO to still earn the rewards. Now, I need Flare Finance to confirm that they will actually give us those rewards if we do this and if this is possible. Now, something that has to be mentioned here is that when you, how do I explain this best? Yeah, so you're able to delegate your vote and undelegate it, like pull it back out as often as you want, right? You can change that around, you can do all that stuff. However, you're only able to delegate your vote to 3 different time series oracles at once from a single wallet, okay? So you might have 3 of them which you might want to use, and that is possible. You can put 1/3 of your Spark, you can delegate 1/3 of your Spark votes to, say, FTSO 1, another third to FTSO 2, and another third to FTSO 3. Fine, you can do that. However, you could not then also do it to a 4th, obviously, in case of this example, because you've nothing left. But also, say if you were to divide it by 5 and put 20% everywhere, that would not be possible, right? Maximum of 3. So then we get to another issue with Flare Farm. So whoever holds the wrapped Spark gets to choose, right? They have the power. So when you have it, you're able to delegate it. However, when, say, in this case, Flare Finance would have it, they get to delegate it, right? So my point here is that you can then no longer choose which FTSO you're going to use. You will have to accept that Flare Finance will choose it. Now, and also because if they have it in one wallet, they will also only be able to use 3 different FTSOs at one time. Right? This is as far as I understand this. I hope I'm explaining it correctly for you guys. Which means that I might have 3 in mind, someone else might 3 in mind, and someone else have another 3 in mind, which will not be possible because if we all put in our wishes, Flare Finance will simply not be able to do it because it's more than allowed. So that being said, if what I think would be allowed is allowed, you could then have your wrapped Spark tokens here in Flare Farm. Flare Finance would then delegate it to whoever they wish. The only thing that I'd like to know is, would they return the rewards to us? If they do, then you will get your double rewards, right? You could get your rewards from the from yield, from farming, and also from the FTSO. Okay, that's kind of the wrapped part. Please, if I say anything here that's incorrect, feel free to correct me. I'm not here to convince you of me being correct. I'm here to learn just like all of you, but I want us to figure this out and work together. Okay, so now we've covered our Spark. We've covered our FXRP. And the next thing then would be our DAO Flare, right, our DFLR. So once we receive it, this will be, I'm doing all this off by heart and chatting away here. So if I'm not mistaken, 1 month after Flare Networks goes live, Flare Finance will have that snapshot. You will then get your DFLR. And when you get your DFLR, you'll have between 5 and 7 days to swap it on Flare X, right? After that, this becomes useless, okay? So that's something that you have to keep an eye on. Now, when you swap it, obviously then you'll swap it for YFLR, and then that YFLR, you'll be able to do, obviously swap it for other tokens here in Flare X, but you could also say, put that in Flare Farm as well. Once again, I'm going to stress it. It all depends on the possibilities when it comes to single token farming pools and dual token farming pools. We might not start off with the possibility that we have all of them in say, single token farming pools, but who knows when through voting, whatever, that might all happen. So that's kind of a very high level overview here of this. This is probably too much to take in one go. I understand it. As I said, I'm also going to be adding stuff like nodes to this as well, and then to use your rewards from nodes. I think to sum up like this here, a couple of things. So if you would like to use like or have this as a whole, as a sheet to kind of play around and mess around with yourself, once again, please check it out in the Patreon. It will be there. Once I've uploaded this, I'll also create the Google Sheet to actually fill in the calculations as far as they're known as well. This left side here will be pretty easy. The right side, not so much until it's all live. But I guess the main thing here is, like, once you have your XRP, you've got a choice. Do you want to go left into, say, centralized finance, or right into decentralized finance? Both have their cons and they both have their benefits. Yeah, I think that's all I want to touch on now. I'd love to get your feedback. If you like this video, guys, please do give it a thumbs up. A lot of time and effort goes into this stuff. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the rest, because I will be sharing more pretty soon, and obviously I'll be giving you updates along the way. Feel free to ask all questions. That's what I'm here for. And yeah, have a great day, guys. All right, goodbye.